Okay, I'm going to go over the equipment you're going to need. We'll start with just the bare essentials. These are the things that you absolutely need to get started, and then we'll progress from there. First things that you absolutely need are you need some sort of window mop, or actually, you know what? You don't. But you will need towels, because you can scrub a window with the towel if that's all that you have. These microfiber towels are cheap and really good. This is what I would start with. You can get them at Home Depot dirt cheap, get them at Harbor Freight dirt cheap, you can get them at Dollar General, basically anywhere. They'll come in a pack for just a few dollars. I would recommend, I didn't on this one, but I would recommend taking the tag, tearing the tag off, and these are going to be used for, if you don't have a mop, scrubbing the window, and then you'll also have some dry ones to detail the glass, to detail the window and get up any last cleaning solution that's on the glass, and also to wipe down frames and screens and that sort of thing. So you'll want quite a few of these. I would say even bare minimum, you're gonna want probably 5 or 6 of them to start out with, because you'll get to a point, and we'll go over this later, but you'll get to a point where your rag is just wet and dirty, and so if you then put that wet, dirty rag back on a window to try and detail it, you're just gonna smear dirt on it, and then the window won't be clean anymore. So you can also get these type of rags, and these are like a no lint type of microfiber towel. They also come in this style, and these are actual Unger brand. This is a professional window cleaning company that makes these particular ones, but you don't have to buy it from them. You just want the no lint kind of smooth style, and I use these for detailing exclusively, and then I use the other ones for cleaning screens and frames and that sort of thing. So, but then bare minimum, 5 or 6 of those, and then you'll want a squeegee. And you can go to the hardware store and you can buy a window squeegee for not too terribly expensive. Maybe we'll go to the store and look at some prices too. That's a good idea. But you'll want a squeegee, because the proper way to clean a window is scrubbing it and then squeegeeing off all the solution in the dirt. If you're gonna have just one squeegee, I recommend one this size. This is a 14-inch, I believe. 14 inches. Now, the final thing that well, there's 2 final things that you absolutely need. That is dish soap, because that is how we clean the windows. The solution and the secret to crystal clear, streak-free windows is clean water and dish soap. None of this fancy tablet stuff, no Windex or fancy whatever. Dish soap and clean water. And then the final thing is you need a bucket. And I like these Unger buckets because they're nice and long, and so it fits my mop in there, and squeegees to clean them and get them wet and stuff. But you can get away with just a Harbor Freight, or not a Harbor Freight, whatever, a 5-gallon bucket. This one's from Ace. You can get them at Harbor Freight, you can get them at Home Depot. This was like $5. And that is the downside of the wider window cleaning bucket, is this is expensive. This was like $27 or something for a bucket. But in my opinion, it's worth it. I have 2 of these, and they're worth every penny in my opinion. But just starting out, if you're starting on a shoestring budget, handful of microfiber towels, soap, squeegee, bucket, 5-gallon bucket. Then moving on, you'll want a window mop, and that is basically a T-handle with the actual mop, and you can get different styles of mops. So this one has the fingers and stuff on one side, or the mop fibers, and on this side it has a scour pad, kind of a more aggressive deal for really scrubbing the windows. There are other styles of mops, kind of like this one, where it's got the fibers on both sides, and then it has a little scratch pad on the end for scrubbing little problem areas. It's getting warm, sorry. So I already went over the towels. The other thing that's really important that you'll really want is a razor. I really like this Unger razor. It has a little shield that comes off, and it has your razor, and the blade comes out and you can replace it, and the blade is two-sided, so that's handy. You get basically double the life out of one razor blade. But you can also get away with a razor like this, and this one's a little messed up. It's been sitting in water and I haven't used it in a while, so I need to clean it. But this is your, this is the type of scraper that you can get, well, not necessarily with the rubberized handle, but this type of scraper you can get at any hardware store, and I think you can even get them at Dollar General for $1. So then you'll want extra razor blades for those razors, of course. This style of razor blade for this style of scraper, these are dirt cheap. You can buy a big pack of these for just a couple bucks. The razors for these, unfortunately, are a little more expensive. I don't remember what I paid for this, but it wasn't terribly cheap. But again, this is something I think is worth it, because when you're scraping a window, especially if you have to scrape an entire window, you either have this much scraper and you have to do so many passes, or you have, like 3 times the scraper in this one to do the window. So this one goes a whole lot faster. To me, the extra time savings and extra hassle savings is worth the extra money. So honestly, the scraper itself wasn't too terribly expensive, but the razor replacements are. Another thing is Quadot steel wool. You will need this, the finest you can get, which is the 4 zeros. You'll need that for scrubbing super tough things like hard water stains and that sort of thing. It's a good thing to carry with you. Also, talked about squeegees, but different length squeegees. I always carry at least 2 on me, usually just 2. This is an 18-inch. I carry this one and this 12-inch, or I carry this and a 14-inch. There's also a couple different squeegee styles. So these are the Ergotech by Unger. These are both the same. And these are super handy because you just press on this button and the whole channel comes out. So it's really easy to replace your rubber. And it's really easy to switch out sizes. So I have a couple other channels, but I don't have them right here. I have a super small 10-inch channel, and then I have a 14-inch channel for the Ergotech handle. So you can see this is also an Unger squeegee, but I don't remember what model this is, but you have to have a screwdriver to switch out the channel and the rubber. So this was my first squeegee. I used this a lot in and it works really, really well. But I switched to the Ergotech just because it's super easy to switch out handles. So yeah, there are many different manufacturers that make great squeegees. Mormon is another popular brand, and there are different styles. There are some with swivel heads and all that sort of thing. But yeah, you'll have to find which one works for you. Starting out with a hardware store brand is not a bad idea either. You'll save some money that way, and you can get hardware store brands that have the replaceable rubbers and that sort of thing. So moving on, having a tool belt is very important. This is one that I bought at Ace Hardware, I think for like 10 bucks. And it has 2 pockets and a little hooky-doo, and that's all that I need. Generally, the way I have mine set up is I keep my detail rag in here, and I keep my other towels up in here and my soap up in here. And I usually keep my razor blade right just like that. And on the other side of this tool belt is a bucket on a belt. And this is super handy because this holster basically will hold your mop, it will hold your squeegee. Unfortunately, this one only holds one squeegee. I keep my other squeegee on me in the tool belt. There's a little loop over here, but I don't know if they make one with 2 squeegee holsters, but that would be cool. I bet they do. And this one even has a spot for your scraper too, right here, if you have this style of scraper. Like I said, I like the other one better. So this will hold any water that drips off your mop, and it also is just a handy spot to have all your equipment. It slides in and out really easy. If you are going to upgrade your kit in any way, bucket on a belt is the way to go. by anybody. Anything that will hold your stuff like this. The other thing that you ought to carry are some disposable rubber gloves. And this wearing gloves while you're doing this work helps with 2 things. Number one, it helps your hands not get super dry from all the soap and stuff. And it also prevents you from accidentally touching the glass and smudging it with the oils from your hands. Now, that's not as big of an issue because you're working with soapy water, and so the oils from your hands will be cleaned off most of the time, but it can still happen. And again, just being able to prevent your hands from getting super dry from all the soap is also good. The other super handy thing that you should get is a pole. And this is a telescopic Unger pole. And this has a quick release mechanism on it that fits all my Unger tools. They just click right into place like that. And I can press the button and pull them off. And that's everything. My mop, even my scraper. That's another reason I like this scraper. It's because I can stick it on my pole and scrape something off of a window that's high up. But a pole is super invaluable, and it will help you do a whole lot more work than just the other tools by themselves. This will allow you to reach things safely and even just get things that are just barely out of reach, you know? And this comes most in handy when I'm doing windows on businesses downtown, because I basically start at one end of downtown and I just walk down and do my customers as I go. And it would be a pain to have to carry all my tools, a bucket full of water, and a ladder. Which brings us to the next things that you're going to need. And that next thing, of course, is ladders. Now, these are the 3 ladders that I use, and they all kind of fit different purposes. Now, if you're starting out, you want to buy just one ladder, I would definitely recommend just getting a 6-foot step ladder, like an A-frame ladder like this. Now, this will get you a lot of places. This will allow you to do anything that's a little bit taller than what you can reach on the ground. Yeah, it's very useful. However, you won't be able to reach 2nd story windows. That's where the extension ladder comes in. This is a 16-foot extension ladder, and 16 to 20 feet, that seems about the sweet spot for doing most things up to 2 stories. I have, this one is set up, I like how I have this set up anyway. I've got, these are levelers, and when I talk about ladder safety, I'll go into how those work. But this allows me to put this ladder up on uneven ground safely. The other thing is this stabilizer standoff doohickey thing, and it kind of sets the ladder away from the wall a bit, allows you to put it right up under a window and be at a comfortable distance to work on it easily. The other thing it does is, like if you're working on gutters, you can put this standoff on the roof instead of having to lean the ladder up against the gutter and potentially bending it. So that's nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a really cool tool. And I'll show you my old one, because this one is brand new. I just put this on. I had one on here before, but it broke, and I'll show you. And then this ladder is like a combination between an extension ladder and an A-frame ladder. So again, I'll go over it in closer detail in my ladder safety video, but this will fold out into like an A-frame step ladder, but you can also unfold it all the way into an extension ladder, and this one goes all the way to like 26 feet, I think. But there are some downsides with this style of ladder. Overall, it's a great idea. When I bought it, I was like, oh, I'm never gonna need those 2 ladders again. But I learned that that's not the case. I only use this ladder if I absolutely have to. Not because it's not a good ladder. This even has built-in stabilizers on it, kind of like what I put over here, but built in. Problem with this ladder is it's heavy. This thing is probably like 80 pounds. Whereas these 2 ladders, I mean, the 6-foot ladder is probably 20 pounds, and this extension ladder is probably 30 pounds. So I thought this was going to replace those 2, but man, just hauling around that super heavy ladder everywhere got exhausting real quick. So honestly, I still use these 2 ladders the most, and I only use this one if I have to go higher than this one will reach. And let me show you, go over this more in the ladder safety video because it's more applicable to that, but this is the old standoff that was on here, and you can see how it's bent, and that's because I set up my ladder wrong and it slipped and fell while I was on it, and I'm okay. But yep, don't be dumb on ladders. Yeah, but anyway, that is all the tools that I use for window cleaning. Well, for window cleaning with traditional methods. I also have a water-fed pole over here because I do some of that too, but that is separate, not necessarily separate course, but like a separate section, because that's a completely different method of cleaning windows. It's a little bit more expensive on the equipment side, but it's a little bit safer in some ways, and it's easier to get higher up and quicker results sometimes. But I do most of my windows with this equipment that I showed here, and starting out, this is probably what you ought to do too. Hey, thanks for watching. You know, this video is actually part of a free online course that I've made on how to professionally clean windows. If you want to sign up for the course, you can go to the link in the description where you'll find the rest of the course, some other supporting materials, and a community of other people that are learning how to clean windows as well. So, thanks again, and we'll see you in there.